Okay, so we'll do this, we'll start this again. Well, not again, we'll continue from where we left off. I'm just gonna take a few minutes and see if anybody joins me live, and failing that, I'll just go ahead and finish up okay. All right, Carlos, I'm gonna have to discuss something with you. I think I discovered something that goes on a little bit differently based on what page we're on. But I'll call you about it when we're done. All right, Kenny, if you can remind me, because you know you're younger than I am, and I just looked up where Winter Haven, Florida is. Kenny, I didn't know you were in Florida. I thought you were further north in Carolina or somewhere else. Sorry about that. So anyhow, so what we were talking about was the fussing over Jeet Kune and the art and what have you. So if anybody who's coming on for the first time, the first part of this broadcast number 10 is on the I Love Jeet Kune group page, and but I'll put links to it so that whichever page you're on, you can get to it. So we were talking about my contention is that Bruce Lee, when he said do not fuss over Jeet Kune, it's just a name, don't fuss over it. That what he was saying is do not fuss over the name. He was not saying do not fuss over the art. And my simple reasoning for that is things that people are into, they make a fuss about. Very few people who are really into something the way all of us are into this art and philosophy of Jeet Kune, very few people don't fuss over things that are, if it's important to you, you do make a fuss over it, right? So that's where we were at, and we kind of left off. I think I was telling everybody a story about a guy who used to train with me, and then he. Okay, let me backtrack. So one of the upshots of not fussing over Jeet Kune is then this idea that anybody can be a Jeet Kune martial artist if they're stringing different things together, and then you just go, you see, that's what Bruce Lee did. Bruce Lee mixed all the styles, or Bruce Lee took the best techniques from different styles and he put them together. Nonsense, right? There's so much more to the art and philosophy of Jeet Kune that idea of mixing styles doesn't even cut it, right? So the story that I was telling you was about this guy who had created his own style, and then he came back to me after training with me for just a little bit, and he wanted me to endorse what it is that he was doing so that it would have Jeet Kune legitimacy and he would have lineage. And I was like, no, you trained with me for a little bit, and then you went off to do your instructorship thing, and now you're back, and that's not going to work. And so that led to the idea of creativity, because you'll read also that Bruce Lee said, I have not created any new style or combination or what have you, because Bruce Lee, in his intelligence, was aware that really, if you're talking about creating something, it's probably only the first time that this thing comes into being that is true creation. Everything else, everything thereafter, is making use of that which previously existed. So creativity, see, is a different thing, right, than creation. So, for example, we have a thing at my school, in my group, that we call the double uppercut series, right? And the double uppercut series, I can't even remember where it came from, why it came into being. The double uppercut series was born out of something else, another drill that we call the Muay Thai 26 count. Now, those of you who are the same Muay Thai lineage as I am, through the JKD clan and with Ajahn Chai Sirisut, you know that we have a whole string of different count drills. This 26 count drill was never something that I saw as 26 count. Over the years of training with Ajahn Chai, I noticed that when he would feed the focus mitts, there were certain, and it's a boxing drill, right? There were certain things that he would do, not necessarily in a particular order, but I just analyzed what it is he was doing. And then from that analysis, I created what we call the 26 count drill. So the double uppercut series is born out of the 26 count drill. The 26 count drill is something that I'm sorry. Well, yeah, okay. The double uppercut series, right? So then we take that, and sometimes we train it to practice the idea of attack by combination. But then there are other times where when we do the double uppercut series, it is not an offensive drill, which is what attack by combination is. Now we do it as a counter-offensive drill. So that means it could be prefixed by an attack, and then you use the double uppercut series in response to that attack. So now it is a counter-offensive drill. We take it, we do it as a focus mitt drill, then we do it as a glove drill. We also, there are elements of it that can be put into, I'll tell you one thing we haven't done it. We haven't done it out of Chisao yet. But we've done it out of the Hubud, but we haven't done it out of Chisao. But that's what I'm talking about. And sometimes I sit and I imagine what it was like for Bruce Lee, 40 plus years ago, having these ideas and having no one to whom he could turn for advice necessarily, right? So that is another element of JKD that I think sometimes we don't necessarily appreciate, that because we come in years later when a lot of the stuff has been formulated, so to speak, for us, and so we're getting the result of what a lot of people put some hard work and a lot of time into before it was delivered to us, right? So anyhow, this is going to be a short version. Guys, search out part one on, it'll be on the I Love Jeet Kune Do page somewhere. So we're going to do, so this is a new segment that I'm incorporating into the broadcast. It's called A Thing That I Love and A Thing That I Hate. So one of the Jeet Kune Do things that I absolutely love is the interaction, the positive interaction between the different people on the I Love Jeet Kune Do page. I think we have over 14,000 members on the page. It's probably approaching like 75,000 people that have liked the page and interacted with it in some form or fashion. And for the most part, the people who post and who contribute to the page, everybody does so in the spirit of sharing and looking at people's stuff and commenting constructively about it. Invariably, there's always somebody who's going to come on and be, whatever, and have a different approach to doing things, right? So the spirit of Jeet Kune Do, which is something that a lot of us have worked a long time to experience in. So it's really, really cool, and I encourage you to keep that up. Post your stuff as we've requested. Make sure that it is something that in some way is related to Jeet Kune Do, right? If you just got your green belt in Taekwondo, I'm very happy for you, but posting a green belt in Taekwondo, try to find a way to relate that to your interest in Jeet Kune Do or your practice in Jeet Kune Do also, right? Now to get on to a thing that I hate. So Here's the thing that I hate, a Jeet Kune Do thing that I hate. It is when people who carry the title of instructor, you see, now that's something that takes you out of the norm. You are no longer a civilian. You're no longer a martial arts civilian, which means somebody who does not practice or does not train in JKD. You're somebody who is carrying the torch. You're now part of this great legacy that we inherited from Bruce Lee. So when a person who carries a title of Jeet Kune Do instructor, who is someone, in my opinion, should know better, when they put stuff up or repeat stuff that is just plain wrong, then that really irritates me. So an example is, I don't have a printout of it, but if I did, I'd show it to you. And some of you guys probably already know, if you spend as much time as I do in JKD and on the internet, you probably know what I'm talking about. And I like to make a joke about it. There's a picture of Bruce Lee and a black guy, all right? And so there are people out there who will tell you, this is a picture of Bruce Lee and his first student, Jesse Glover. It is not. It is Bruce Lee and a picture of Joseph Hayes, I think is the guy's name, who was a top Taekwondo competitor. Now, if you know that Bruce Lee had a very close relationship with Jun Rhee, who is considered the father of American Taekwondo. And so there are a number of times where Bruce Lee appeared at, I think, some of Jun Rhee's tournaments, and also some other, there was another Taekwondo guy, Sihak Henry Cho, I think, and he in the old days had a seminar, and I think Bruce Lee appeared there also. So anyhow, long story short, it is a picture of Bruce Lee and Joe Hayes. You got to know that. You cannot know simply that Bruce Lee's first student in Seattle was a black guy, and his name was Jesse Glover. So if you see a picture of Bruce Lee and a black guy, boom, all black guys look the same. That's the joke, right? And so you put that up there as it. No, you're a Jeet Kune Do instructor. Your knowledge has to be deeper than that. You see, because look, compared to the amount of black belt instructors that there are in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, maybe 25 years ago in UFC 1, there weren't as many as there are now, right? Now, take that and contrast that or compare that with the amount of black belt instructors there are in Shotokan Karate versus the number of Jeet Kune Do instructors that there are. The Jeet Kune Do number is going to be minuscule. And so it's really, really important that we don't put stuff out there that is so easily refutable, if you get what I'm saying, right? And again, this goes back to the central topic of today's broadcast, which is that we didn't fuss about it enough. And so everybody was allowed to do whatever it is that they wanted to do. There were people who were saying, well, you know, it's better than nothing, so we can let it go out and what have you. No. See, that never happened in traditional Japanese karate. That does not happen in Honga Gung Fu lineage, in Choi Le Foot. None of that stuff happens. It's only in JKD where there's this like, well, you know, whatever happens, we'll let it go. No, stop that. That's nonsense. If we are going to preserve this art, and I know it's a difficult thing, and it's a difficult thing because the founder of the method transitioned off the planet without leaving specific guidelines or what have you. So it is now incumbent on us, his followers, to establish certain guidelines. And I'm not talking about everybody having to do it my way. That's not it. I think that with all the different factions or all the different groups within the JKD family, within the JKD clan, you'll notice that there are certain things. So I'll tell you this, and then we'll finish up. If you go to, let's see, so I'm in the southeast of the United States, so I'm in Florida, right? So if you come and you train with me and then you go to the diagonal opposite of the country, up into the northwest, and you train in Seattle, let's say, with either any of the old school Seattle people, so the Junfan Gung Fu group, the Taki and Andy Kimura group, if you train with them, or if you train with, let's call it the younger JKD group, so then you train at MKG Seattle, right? Or you train, I think, who else is up there? Chris Clark, right? So there's Chris Clark and Andy Wilson, and then Taki, and I mean, there's probably more over the years, but these are the guys that I know personally, right? So okay, so now we go from Florida, we go to Seattle. Now we'll cut back to the Midwest, right? And so in the Midwest, in Minneapolis, you train with my senior and one of my favorite people in the whole world, Rick Fay. So then you train with him, or you train with some of the guys in the Chicago area, right? And then we keep going back to the east, and now we end up in New York, right? So now we're in New York and New Jersey. So there's Princeton Martial Art, there's New Breed, there's Progressive, there's New York Martial Art Academy, and you train there, right? There's Dan Anderson, there's Anthony Fontana, all these guys, right? And then you make an X now into, let's see if I know my geography, right? So now, so now maybe we're in Georgia, right? No, that's not far enough. But you know, right? Okay, you guys get where I'm going with this. Here's the thing: none of it is going to be identical. It's not even identical. My next closest Jeet Kune Do neighbor, my dear friend Neil Colliff in Coral Springs, they're 45 minutes north of me in Miami. The way Neil does things up there is not identical to the way I did. But there's a similarity. There's a commonality. You see, the drills might not be identical, but there's always going to be some, and you'll go, oh, these guys come from the same place. And that's one thing that it's like family, right? You know, you could have the group that's still in Italy, and then you have the group that moved from Italy to Canada, and then you have the group that moved from Italy to the United States. But they're still all one family, even though now their stories are different. You know, the lineage is the same, the heritage is the same, and that's the thing that I think exists in Jeet Kune Do, and we might not be tapping into that often enough or even strongly enough. All right, so that's it. I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 10, the one about fussing over Jeet Kune Do. Try to find part 1. Something really interesting happened in part 1. My colleague Mark Mills came online, and we were able to get both people up on the screen. Hint, hint, right? And if any of you guys are interested in learning more about, like I talked about, the double uppercut series that we do here in Miami. Be sure to check out the I Love Jeet Kune Do Quick Skills series. If you go to ilovejeetkundogroup.com and then just scroll all the way down to the bottom, right? That's where the important stuff is. And you know, feel free to check it out. There's a money back guarantee on it if you end up not liking it. And but yeah. Check it out. And this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel. I'm signing off. Sorry for the interruption earlier today, but my maintenance guys had to do my thing. And, wait. Kenny, okay, Kenny's telling me, remind me of getting hold. Okay, no, that's not it. I got to do one more thing. Maybe this was what I needed you to remind me of, Kenny. So we have to do the new segment, right, which is a page from the Tao of Jeet Kune Do. So I'm going to start, really, if you think about it, it's the first page, right? And so it says here, the martial arts including boxing. And it's a translation by David Kung Pak Sen, right, of what Cedro Bruce wrote. And so there are 4 sections to it. The martial arts, including boxing, is section 1. Section 2 is the heart of the martial arts is in understanding techniques. Then section 3 is precautions on physical techniques. And section 4 is acquired talent and natural talent, right? So this is probably something that all you guys have read before, but I suggest that you take a read of it again, because remember, a lot of times when we read stuff, so this book was published in what, 40 years ago, in 1977, right? So going on 41 years ago. So when we look at this stuff, we have to look at it in its historical context, right? So the martial arts include in boxing. See, because I don't think that back then, 40 years ago, people considered boxing to be a martial art. It was an Olympic sport, right? So again, here's evidence of Bruce Lee's, and this is why Jeet Kune is not necessarily the same thing as something like Kaju Kembo, right? Which people call one of the original mixed martial arts or what have you, right? So Bruce Lee was taking a different look and a different approach at things, and so the martial arts, including boxing, is one section. The heart of the martial arts is in understanding techniques. So let me read this quickly. To understand techniques, you must learn that they contain a lot of condensed movement. This may look quite awkward. When you start to learn it, you will find that it is awkward to you. That is because a good technique includes quick changes, great variety, and speed. It may be a system of reversals, much like a concept of God and the devil. In the speed of events, which one is really in charge? Do they change places with lightning speed? The Chinese believe so. To put the heart of the martial arts in your own heart and have it be a part of you means total comprehension and the use of a free style. When you have that, you will know that there are no limits. So I'm going to read that again. See, to put the heart of the martial arts in your own heart. You dig that? You see how deep that is? This is why Jeet Kune is something that we should fuss over. And I dare say that we should even fuss over the name, because the name, the way of the intercepting fist, describes an attitude towards not just physical combat, but an attitude to a psychological combat, towards emotional combat, right? So there's more. I'll do this part because this used to be the favorite part of mine, right? Dig this. Precautions on physical techniques. This is section 3, right? Some martial arts are very popular, real crowd pleasers, aka MMA, UFC, right? Because they look good, have smooth techniques. But beware, they are like a wine that has been watered. A diluted wine is not a real wine, not a good wine, hardly the genuine article, right? Some martial arts don't look so good, but you know that they have a kick, a tang, a genuine taste. They're like olives. The taste may be strong and bittersweet. The flavor lasts. You cultivate a taste for them. No one ever developed a taste for diluted wine. Now, that is not a knock on MMA, because let me tell you, none of us would be, well, that's not necessarily true. MMA plays an important role in the world of martial art. For some people, and for entertainment, for some people a way of life, for some people employment, right, and a method of making a livelihood. But to take MMA and go, oh well, yeah, that's like Jeet Kune because it's mixing the art. No, not at all. That MMA thing would be so much a diluted version of Jeet Kune. Anyhow, so maybe that'll be a topic for another time. So guys, thanks for tuning in on this part 2. Find part 1 somewhere on the pages on I Love Jeet Kune, and I'll see you next week, because everything's yeah, I got some family issues, but I think next week I'll still be here in Florida. So thanks again for signing in, and everybody have a good evening, and I'll see you soon.